Hey, Artie Fahey from Bar Mills. Welcome to the holiday season. In this case, welcome to the new holiday kit. Before we get into it, and we have it right here on my right, your left, I want to go over a few things with you about how we do things at Bar Mills. First of all, the video I'm shooting now is not going to be the final one of this series for the Graves elevator building, which is what you see here. Jack Ellis is on his way over from New Hampshire to give total clinics on this, and we'll be shooting that right after we wrap this up. Now, what we try to do here is a little different in Bar Mills, and this is how it works. Jim Mooney, our engineer, my good friend, and somebody who's really important to everybody who's ever built a Bar Mills kit, is always on me saying, yeah, you want something new, you want something that hasn't been done. And he gives me grief every single time we do a kit about this. And I got to thinking about this, so I said to myself, you know, when I do this video, let me take a minute to go over with all of you exactly the way we do things up here at Bar Mills. We have myself and Lenny, who's running the camera here, and he's our production guy, and he answers the phones, as many of you know. We have Jim Mooney, our chief engineer. We have Jack Ellis, one of our best friends, and a great builder and a great contributor to design. We have guys like Mike Tylick and Carl Schultz and other people that build that contribute to our efforts as well. And we put it all together right up here in Maine. But I started thinking about what did we do this year that we haven't done before, because this is very important in a Bar Mills kit. I always felt personally that as a modeler, what's better than being faced with unique and new challenges every time you build something? I really don't want to build the same kit year after year, whether it's all strips of stores or all waterfront or all mills or whatever it is. The idea is to keep getting into this new phase and just doing something that hasn't been done. Welcome to the Graves Elevator and Industrial Lift Company. Something brand new from Bar Mills for this Christmas. Limited run 100 to 125 kits. We will honor orders up through December 10th, which is our shipping date. But remember that we cannot guarantee Christmas delivery on orders that will place very late, because it does take time to make up all the resin components and the laser cut components and the rest. Everything we do here at Bar Mills, we don't tend to use commercial components at all. These are not things generally that you can go to your local hobby shop and build it on your own. Very important this time, we have an 18-inch by 14-inch diorama. Keep in mind that when I build these dioramas, while I do recess the buildings maybe an inch and a half, 2 inches in the front, generally they're within an inch of each side and right up against the backs. So when we have an 18 by 14 diorama, it doesn't mean that it will fit in the space on your layout. We tend to keep things very compact, because we do bring these things around to train shows and they're subject to a lot of abuse. And of course, it's kind of tough to bring these things out, especially if we're going to, say, Portland, Oregon, like we did last year. This makes mighty big luggage, and sometimes too big for the overheads, which is how we prefer to carry these when we travel. So 18 by 14, two structures with a lot of goodies, and we're going to get into that right now. Welcome to the Graves Industrial Lift and Elevator Company. Now, just to give you folks a quick introduction to what we have here, I'm going to kind of poke around with this scale 8x8 and point out a couple features here. Number one is, you'll notice the height of this particular building is 4 stories tall. The bottom story is always the tallest. And if you've noticed, we've changed media, going from a concrete stucco kind of a look up to a weathered clapboard look. Now, keep in mind that a lot of times you'll make the stucco out of cardboard and you cover it over with some kind of a surface covering. We've done the same thing here, except we never ever use cardboard. Yes, it's cheaper to use cardboard, but we use something called task board. It's far more durable, can be braced easily, and will stay true to form. One thing you don't need is something that's going to warp out, especially with the introduction of any finishing coats of color and paint. So what you're seeing is the first floor, at least on this side of the building, being represented in a stucco, where we climb up for the 3 floors above it being made out of clapboard. Now, a couple of things of note. First of all, it's an elevator company, and how cool is this? We actually have an elevator here, as in this recess shaft, as well as on yet another side of the building. The elevators were designed exactly as we've made them here. We got together with an elevator mechanic who services this exact kind of elevator within the city of Portland, Maine here. A lot of old buildings in Portland, and he told us exactly how it should be rigged, whether rigging should go, and how the thing would be transported up and down on rails that are within the elevator shaft. He was very cool about it. He was a great help. By the way, another thing here, this is a dry transfer. Dry transfers are kind of old technology, but they're getting hard to come by, and they are very expensive to do. We truly spared no expense on this kit. You'll have not one, but two, three. Make that 3 dry transfers included with this kit, so you can apply them directly to the clapboard surface. It's not a paper sign. It's not something you have to kind of blend in to get that, you know, installed hand-painted look, because literally these letters are on here one at a time, and we'll be discussing that in the clinic coming up. Also, Jim Mooney went out of his way to provide laser cut fire escapes using laser board. Now, be aware, these are very delicate, but they're very much to scale. We've used commercial plastic ones before. We all know who makes these things, and they do great jobs, but they're not necessarily to scale, where these were designed for this building, and you can see how these come down the side of the building. So at least from this perspective, this one wall, and it is a 4-sided building. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. You know what? I'm not sure. I think it's a 5-sided building when you really look at it. This is a unique architectural shape, and you can see anything from the hoist house to the lettering to the difference in textures. And we'll be discussing that in another clinic that we're actually going to be shooting right after I finish with this one. Looking from a different angle, you can see yet another elevator shaft, and here again, using the same copies of the dry transfers, we were able to lever this area. You might notice that we've included a lot of industrial fans that you can insert wherever you feel like you'd like to use them. They fit very well into these windows. The windows are by Northeastern, and in this particular kit, actually, I have a package of windows right here, and this is what comes with the kit. To give you an idea, on this one building, we have 32 of these larger windows. A lot going on here. You can see what's going on. You see the extension of the freight, the freight area in the bottom, using the unique stucco kind of look that we've used in this kit. Also, you may be able to see some bricks sticking out here and there as well. That's all engraved into the the task board that we've used as the sub base for these wall sections. We will get into discussing how we do that later on when Jack gets here, but right now this is just a quick view of the Graves elevator building. One of the most interesting aspects of this building is the drop roof over here, as well as this giant ventilation system that's built into the side of the building. But you'll notice that on this side here, this is our industrial loading side. We've gotten away from the clapboard and went with 100% concrete brick stucco kind of a wall, and here you can see it in this particular angle. You'll notice also the name Graves up there. That's done with a stencil, and Jack will get into discussing how we did that. Also, you'll see the loading dock and the office that they eventually built in this area. And the loading dock contains a couple of doors. You can see possibly in this shot a forklift, which is included with the kit sticking out. Now, keep in mind that this, well, forget keeping in mind, I didn't mention it, but it's not always easy coming up with concepts. And in this case, Jeff Grove, a friend of ours from Carolina Craftsman Kits, mentioned to me last year, wow, something with elevators would be cool. And I started drawing, and I came up with most of this, and then Jim took it to the next level, and that's what you're seeing here today. So it takes a village, as they say. In this case, we're lucky to have so many modelers contributing to the efforts here at the shop. Okay, we're going to wind this building up by kind of showing you yet the last perspective of this. The narrow area in the back, and all these vents, by the way, these are all laser cut, and you'll build these up and come with the kit. Also, something that I don't know if it's in this shot or not, because I can't see from my vantage point, but if you notice, there's a brick kind of a street here, and we actually are going to include enough material to do exactly what we did here with this kit. It's brick sheeting, it's actually plastic, and that is also part of the kit. And Jim came up with this really cool, nifty water tower here, and we're waiting for the prototypes to come in because this will actually be made out of resin, and we're doing our mastering right now. These things take some time. Other than that, I think you'll have a pretty good idea what's going on here with this particular building. Anything from the vents to the window fans to the really cool chimneys and the water tower, it's all included. Jack had a comment to me. Jack Ellis built this prototype himself. His comment was, one of the problems with this kit is that modelers are not going to know which side to display once they've built it. That's a great feeling, because we've all seen plenty of kits that there's nothing going on one of the sides. This simply doesn't fall into that category, much like the Popovich Pipe Company I mentioned earlier. It's just one of those kits that is chock full of angles and details no matter where you look. You know, sometimes keeping it simple makes it just so much more realistic. In this case, this structure here is based on a prototype in a small village called Keyser Falls right here in Maine. The Keyser Falls building was much larger. It just didn't work against the Graves building as we did it. So we took the architecture of the Keyser Falls building, shrunk it down a little bit, and added some character to it to emphasize, you know, its modeling possibilities. Now here what you have is you have the original factory of Mr. Edwin Graves, by the way, the fellow who started here and ended up there with his company. And we feature basically clapboard construction with laser cut freight doors, some unusual ones because they are based on the prototype. Of course, it comes with a loading dock with all of the goodies. We do not include figures and vehicles. I will tell you that this diorama is not quite ready for photography. Jack Ellis handed over these two buildings to me on Sunday, and by Monday I had to have this diorama built, so I left out a couple basic things that will also come with the thing, but I think you have a pretty good idea of exactly where it's going. We did want to make an effort to make sure everybody had a good look at this week. So anything from the resin loading docks to the fine details in this building are all included. Now there's something very different about this building too, because here again it's all about telling a unique story. So I'm going to shift this around just so you can get another look at another detail on this particular building. While the original building in Keyser Falls didn't have this feature, we have this same assembly built into one of the structures on our SN2 Wharf Street layout, and we've decided to incorporate it in this kit. It's a terrific overhead crane. As you can see, it's braced up against the roof, and it's the kind of detail that really just helps you tell a story. You can see the planking on this portion of the roof to support the weight that a crane like this would handle, and it's just one of the little details that really help pull things together. And of course you have the larger smokestack there as well, and there is a certain technique to this that we'll get into in another video. Now you'll see here that we've employed yet another dry transfer in the Edwin Graves sign on the side of this building. It's all part of the kit. It has to be done meticulously, and it's not a cheap fix if you mess it up. So be careful with this, but it's the kind of thing that really just defines a model. By the way, a lot of the weathering on this particular diorama was done using pan pastels that we got from our good friend Roger Melanowski over at Stony Creek Models. If you haven't stocked up on these in your own arsenal of goodies, I was kind of pushed into it because my airbrush was giving me a hard time, and I was just too lazy to get into it at the time, so I started using these things, and I use them on the buildings, but I also use them to help cover the ground and introduce subtle variations in the turf and the color of nature, so to speak, around our dioramas as well. They're very controllable. Stony Creek Models, Roger Melanowski. I don't have his contact information offhand, but you can be sure it's on the internet someplace. Here again, we're really pleased with our efforts this year, and we hope that you like them, because no matter what we think, the bottom line is that we have to do the right thing by all of you out there. 100 to 125 kits, that's what we're geared for. The guys are used to working a lot of overtime to help you, the folks that order later, try to fill orders for the holidays. I think we have a pretty good track record of trying to service all of you, and we will continue that, but we do have a cutoff date even on late orders of December 10th. And yes, these things sell out. You don't have to look far back to think about Cundy Village and Cundy Harbor and Popovich and all the other kits that are long gone. We've enjoyed bringing them all to you. On behalf of Jim Mooney and Jack Ellis and Lenny here and myself and my beautiful wife Nancy and the rest of us at Bar Mills, it's been 15 years. Without you, there'd be no us. And don't you think that we don't know that. Have a good day.